Conscious, congruent living turns confusion into clarity. Most people are confused about their life not because they lack information, but because they lack alignment. They know what they should be doing. The conscience is clear about it. It always is. But they are not doing it. They know what they should be removing. The conscience identified it long ago, but they have not removed it. And that gap, that daily accumulating distance between what the conscience is saying and what the life is actually doing, produces a specific kind of inner turbulence that no external success can resolve. Confusion is not the absence of direction. It is the presence of unheeded direction. The conscience already knows. It has always known. It knows which action to take and which vice to put down. It knows which conversation needs to happen and which habit needs to end. It knows the step toward the goal and the thing that is blocking it. The clarity is already there. It has been there the entire time. Conscious, congruent living is simply this: doing what the conscience says, immediately, consistently, without the negotiation, without the delay, without the long internal debate that produces no decision and costs you the moment, acting on every positive challenge the conscience presents, restraining from every vice it identifies, living so tightly aligned with the internal truth that the external life becomes a direct, clear, accurate reflection of it. That alignment is where confusion ends and clarity begins. Your conscience speaks constantly. The question is whether you are listening and whether you are acting. Right now, somewhere in your awareness, there is something it has been telling you. A step toward the goal you have been postponing. A book that needs to be opened. A training session that was supposed to happen. An idea that has been presenting itself repeatedly and has been repeatedly set aside for conditions that never arrive. A vice that keeps being identified and keeps being excused. The conscience is not confused about any of these. It is patient. It will keep presenting the same truths until you act on them, or until you have suppressed the voice so completely that you can no longer hear it. The time is always right to do what is right. Do not suppress the voice. Obey it. The moment the conscience identifies the action, take it. Not later today. Not after this episode, after this meal, after this comfortable moment has run its course. Now, in the immediacy of the recognition, because the window between the conscience speaking and the comfort intervening is narrow, and the man who acts in that window builds momentum that the man who waits never does. Act immediately on every positive challenge it presents. The conscience says, get up, get up. Not negotiate with the alarm, get up. The conscience says, write the plan. Not think about writing the plan, write it. The conscience says, make the call, start the business, do the session, end the pattern, begin the change. These are not suggestions from the conscience. They are instructions from the most honest part of you. The part that can see clearly what needs to happen and is never confused about the direction. Action is the foundational key to all success. The man who acts on the positive challenge immediately, who treats the conscience's instruction as a direct order rather than an option, is the man who builds congruence. Because congruence is not built in the grand decision. It is built in the immediate response to the small instruction. Every time you do what the conscience says, when the conscience says it, you strengthen the alignment between the inner world and the outer one. You become incrementally and then dramatically the man whose life actually reflects what he actually values. That man is never confused because his life is telling him at every moment exactly who he is. Restrain immediately from every vice it identifies. The conscience never misidentifies a vice. It is never wrong about the thing that does not belong. It does not confuse the thing that is costing you with the thing that is building you. It knows the difference with complete accuracy, and every time you override its identification, every time you choose the vice it named despite the naming, you widen the gap between the man you are and the man you are supposed to be. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. The vice is always selling you something it cannot actually deliver. Relief that is temporary, pleasure that is followed by the exact dissatisfaction it promised to relieve. The conscience knows this. It identified the vice not to deprive you, but to protect the version of you that is being built. Every restraint, every moment you hear the conscience say no, and you say no with it, is a deposit into the character, a confirmation to the deepest part of yourself that you are governed by your values and not your cravings. Restrain, not reluctantly, with the full understanding that the restraint is the standard, and the standard is the man. Conscious, congruent living is not a complex practice. It is the simplest one available. It requires no new information, no new system, no new strategy. It requires only the willingness to do what you already know, immediately, consistently, without the negotiation that has been costing you the life you said you wanted. Know thyself. The knowing is already there. It has always been there. The conscience has been speaking with perfect clarity about every area of your life. What needs to be done? What needs to be removed? What needs to begin? What needs to end? The only variable has been the response. Change the response. Act on the positive challenge the moment it is presented. Restrain from the vice the moment it is identified. Live so congruently with the internal truth that the external life has no choice but to follow. The confusion lifts the moment the congruence begins, not gradually, immediately. Because clarity was never missing. It was simply not being honored. Honor it now, in this next decision, in this next moment. Conscious, congruent, clear,